I kicked the hotel door in and found my fiancée on her knees with my friend. He tried to run. I tackled him through the coffee table. She screamed. I grabbed her purse, pulled out the room key receipt. My name was on it. Then I left everything on the floor: blood, receipts, her ring, and a note for his wife. She read it out loud. At his kid's birthday party. It started with a canceled dinner. That's all. Mia had been quiet that morning, texting slower than usual, tossing in a few hearts like punctuation to a sentence that didn't mean anything. We were supposed to leave work early, check into the Renaissance downtown, then head to that rooftop place she always talked about but never booked. I'd already paid for the hotel. She didn't know that part. I wanted it to be a surprise. But just before 4 p.m., she texted, "Hey babe, can we maybe do this next weekend? I'm exhausted. Just want to shower and nap. Is that okay?" I stared at the message, then stared at it again. I typed, "Sure," and tossed the phone in the passenger seat. The ring was still in the glove compartment. I had planned to give it to her at dinner. I could have gone home. I could have turned around and sulked like a wounded animal, but something in me shifted. I didn't even realize I was driving until I hit the exit for the hotel. Traffic was light. Everything felt too quiet. The kind of quiet you notice before something explodes. At the Renaissance, I handed the valet my keys, walked into the lobby with my bag slung over my shoulder, and approached the desk. The girl behind the counter smiled without looking up. "Name? Adam Fielding. I had a reservation for tonight. Suite 1422. She typed, then stopped. "Oh, looks like that room was already checked into." I blinked. "What?" She tilted the screen a little, hesitant. "It says someone already picked up the keys and went up around 2:20 p.m. today." I didn't respond. I just stood there. Something in my throat locked. She looked up, noticed my expression, and hesitated. "Is there a problem?" "I made the reservation. No one else should be there." Her hands moved again. "I can confirm that. You're the card holder. Then can you give me a key?" She paused, then nodded, printed another key card, and handed it across the counter. "Do you want someone to escort you?" "No." I walked to the elevators, my heart pounding like I'd just run a mile. I pressed the button for the 14th floor. The doors closed. The walls buzzed. There was something fluorescent and sickly about the light. I pulled out my phone. Her chat was still open. Last seen, 4:03 p.m. It was now 6:11. I scrolled back up, past the gifts, the good morning selfies, the "I love you" from 2 nights ago. The elevator chimed. Floor 14. As I stepped into the hallway, I immediately heard it. Voices. Not loud, but close. Muffled. One of them male. I knew that voice. My stomach twisted before my brain caught up. It was Noah. He had a way of laughing that sounded like he was about to tell a dirty joke, but never did. He'd been my friend since college. My best man by default. He was the one who introduced me to Mia in the first place. They'd stayed friendly. Close, actually. Too close sometimes. But every time I brought it up, Mia rolled her eyes and said I was being insecure. And Noah would smirk and say I needed to grow up. I walked faster. Suite 1422 was halfway down, right side. As I got closer, I slowed down. Their voices dropped. I could hear furniture shifting. A woman's laugh. Light. Drunken. Then silence. And the click of a lock sliding into place. I didn't knock. I raised my foot and kicked. The door cracked inward with a sharp pop and swung open a few inches. The chain was on, but it didn't matter. One more kick and the chain snapped. I stood in the doorway, looking in. She was on her knees. Noah was standing in front of her. Both of them turned their heads in sync, as if they'd rehearsed it. Their faces, frozen. Shock didn't cover it. Noah stumbled backward, tripping over the corner of the bed. Mia tried to cover herself with a towel. Her lipstick smeared down her chin. I stepped inside. Neither of them said a word. Noah looked like he wanted to run. His hand darted toward his bag on the chair. I charged before he could grab it. My shoulder slammed into his chest, and I drove him backward. We hit the glass coffee table. It shattered beneath us. His back slammed against the metal edge. I got back up. He didn't. Mia screamed. I didn't look at her. I walked to the nightstand, picked up her purse, dumped it on the floor. There it was, the cardboard sleeve from the room key. My name printed on it. The same card I used to book this room for her. I took the receipt, laid it on the broken glass next to Noah's groaning body, and dropped the ring beside it. I didn't say a word. Let her explain it to his wife. I walked out, glass crunching beneath my shoes. I didn't hear footsteps behind me as I walked back down the hallway. No screaming. No running. Just the soft clink of broken glass and the echo of a moment that wasn't supposed to happen. The elevator was still waiting. I got in, pressed the lobby button. My reflection in the mirror looked blank, not shocked, not angry, just neutral, like I was watching a stranger's life from outside a window. When I hit the lobby, the front desk girl looked up, then looked away quickly. I could tell she'd already seen something on the internal system. Maybe they called security. Maybe they didn't know who to blame. But no one came for me. I didn't go to my car right away. Instead, I walked to the bar just off the side of the lobby. It was mostly empty. Just two men in suits having a quiet drink and a couple arguing over appetizers. I sat at the corner, ordered a double of whatever they had on the top shelf, and pulled out my phone. Still nothing from Mia. Noah's contact was already blocked. Had been for months, actually. We'd stopped talking after he made a comment about Mia's old photos at my birthday dinner last year. Said something about how she used to look wild back then, and I told him to knock it off. That was the last time I invited him to anything. But apparently, they kept talking, texting, meeting. The bartender dropped off the drink, took one look at me, and slid over a second napkin without saying anything. I didn't sip. I just stared. There was a moment, somewhere between the first and second drink, when my hand moved toward my pocket. Not for my phone, for the receipts. I still had the hotel confirmation email. Still had the screenshots of our text thread where she canceled. I had timestamps, photos, evidence. And one person who needed to see all of it. Charlotte, Noah's wife. They'd been married for 4 years. I was at their wedding. I gave the toast. I joked about how Noah was never going to settle down, and now he'd finally found someone who made him grow up. I pulled up her number. We'd only spoken a handful of times, usually during group events. Once when she texted to ask what Noah wanted for his birthday. Once to thank me for a bottle of wine we sent them after their dog died. Now I was staring at her name again. I hesitated, not because I didn't know what to say, but because I knew she'd believe me too fast. She was smart. Too smart for Noah. I had no doubt she already had suspicions. This wasn't going to be news. It was going to be proof. I sent the photos. The smashed table. The ring. The receipt with my name on it. A shot of Noah's wedding band left carelessly on the dresser. Then I added one line. They were in my hotel room. Together. Just now. Then I waited. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Then a message came through. Where? I told her the hotel. The room number. I added, he's still there. She replied, good. That was it. I paid the tab, walked out, and crossed the street to my car. I got in but didn't start it. Just leaned back and stared at the ceiling. There was something deeply quiet about sitting in your own silence after a storm. The kind of silence that feels earned. Then my phone buzzed again. FaceTime request. Charlotte. I answered. She was in her car, hair tied back, sunglasses off, no makeup, redness in her eyes. She was parked outside her building, Noah's gym bag in her lap. I didn't cry, she said. Her voice was flat, mechanical. I nodded. Said nothing. She unzipped the bag. One by one, she pulled out his clothes. Work shirts, running shoes, a half-used bottle of cologne. She opened her window, leaned out, and began dropping them piece by piece onto the sidewalk 3 stories below. People started gathering. She held the phone so I could see, then turned it back to her. This is just the start, she said. Tell me what happened. I told her. Everything. Short, clipped facts. No embellishments. The canceled dinner. The hotel check-in. The key. The door. The room. The blood. She didn't flinch once. I knew something was off, she said. He started hiding his phone. Started going for longer runs. I tracked him once, but he stopped sharing location after that. She paused, then looked straight into the camera. She was supposed to be your wife. She won't be, I said. Charlotte didn't reply. Instead, she turned the camera again. The pile of Noah's things was still growing. A few neighbors were watching from their windows. Then she pulled out one last item. A small frame with a photo of them from their honeymoon. She opened the door, stepped outside, walked to the edge of the balcony, and dropped it. The glass shattered. I'm sending the video to her parents, she said. And his boss. Do it. I hung up. 10 minutes later, I got a text from an unknown number. What the hell is wrong with you? Why are you trying to ruin everything? Then another. I didn't mean for you to find out like that. And another. We need to talk. Please. It was Mia. I didn't respond. Instead, I turned the phone off, started the engine, and drove toward the one place I knew would still be open. A print shop. I printed out everything. The receipt from the hotel, my credit card confirmation, the photo of the broken table, the timestamp from the security camera in the hallway, courtesy of a front desk guy who didn't see anything, and a still from the FaceTime with Charlotte. Then I bought a manila envelope and stuffed it full. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't even anger anymore. It was documentation. A record of betrayal, paid for in full. The envelope felt heavier than it should have. Not in weight, but in consequence. As I drove home, I kept glancing at it on the passenger seat. That thin paper shell now carried the truth, curated, organized, and printed. It wasn't rage anymore. It was a file. A case. A closing statement. I parked outside the condo I shared with Mia. Everything looked exactly the same. Porch lights on. Curtains drawn. One car in the driveway. Hers. The betrayal didn't announce itself from the outside. It never did. It sat in silence, behind windows that made it all look normal. I didn't go in. I placed the envelope under the doormat, then walked around to the side of the house and left her purse there too. I'd taken it from the hotel room, not out of spite, but because it had my name on the receipts inside. Let her have it all back. Let her piece together her own chaos. Before I left, I slid one final item into the mailbox. A single page from the print shop, a still photo of her on her knees, face turned toward the door, eyes wide with guilt. I'd taken it with my phone the second I walked into that hotel suite. No zoom, no filters, no context needed. Then I drove away. I didn't turn on music. I didn't call anyone. My phone stayed face down on the passenger seat. At the first red light, it buzzed nonstop, a rhythm of panic I refused to touch. When I glanced, I saw her name flashing repeatedly. I let it ring. Let it die. Let it start again. I pulled into a quiet parking lot outside a late-night diner and sat there until the sky turned blue. Around 6:30 a.m., I turned my phone back on. 32 missed calls, 9 voicemails, and 6 texts from numbers I didn't recognize, all asking for my side. Mia had already started spinning her version. I didn't even need to open social media to know. She'd always been fast with damage control, the kind of person who deleted comments before they had time to get traction. But this time, she didn't control the narrative. Charlotte did. When I opened Facebook, I saw it right away. Charlotte had posted a gallery of photos, the hotel receipt, the broken glass, a screenshot of my reservation email, the image of Mia's purse on the hotel floor. Her caption was short. Imagine being cheated on with your best friend's fiancé. In the room he booked. Paid for. Reserved with love. I've officially filed for divorce. I'll leave the rest to her. The post had over 600 comments already. Dozens of shares. People tagging others. Screenshots spreading like wildfire. Then I saw the messages from mutual friends. Some confused. Some furious. Most were asking if it was true. A few were apologizing for not telling me sooner. Apparently, there had been rumors. Subtle ones. Hushed questions about how close Mia and Noah really were. And now no one was pretending anymore. Around 8 a.m., I got a call from Mia's mother. I answered. Her voice came through shaky. Adam, what happened? I told her everything. No emotion. Just the same script I'd given Charlotte. She didn't defend her daughter. She didn't ask for details. She just sighed, long and sharp. I had a bad feeling when I saw him at the bridal shower, she whispered. They were whispering too much. I didn't reply. Then came the question I expected. Are you still going through with the wedding? There's no wedding. I understand, she said. Then hung up. A minute later, I received a text from her number. Not Mia. Her mother. A photo of Mia, curled up on a couch, crying. A caption that simply read, she regrets it. She's shattered. Please talk to her. I deleted it. By midday, Mia showed up at my office. My coworkers had already heard. News travels fast in buildings where everyone has lunch on the same floor. She stood in the lobby like a statue, holding a folder in one hand and her phone in the other. Her eyes were red, but not from makeup, from exhaustion. She looked like she hadn't slept. Good. I didn't speak to her directly. Instead, I walked up to security, handed them her photo, and told them she was not to be let in again. They nodded. She saw me as I left through the side exit. She ran toward me. I kept walking. Her voice cracked behind me. You can't just shut me out like this. I didn't turn around. You think this fixes anything? She screamed. You think embarrassing me is going to make you feel better? A delivery truck honked nearby, drowning out whatever else she tried to say. I crossed the street, got into my car, and locked the door. She slammed her hand against the window. You paid for that hotel. Why would I use it? I didn't think. I reversed. She stepped back. Her hand fell. As I pulled away, I saw her drop the folder. Papers flew onto the sidewalk. She didn't chase them. Back home, I finally checked the envelope under the doormat. Still there. Untouched. I brought it inside, threw it onto the kitchen counter, and let it sit. Then I logged into the wedding vendor accounts. I canceled everything. The venue gone. The catering, canceled with a deposit refund request. The photographer, canceled. The honeymoon, deleted in 2 clicks. Each time, I entered her email address as the primary contact. Each time, I left the comments section blank. No explanation. Just her name. Then came the final part, the joint account. She had insisted on opening it to show commitment. Said it was about building a future together. She put in $500 for formality. I had transferred $14,000 over 3 months for the wedding. I logged in. She'd withdrawn $8,200 the morning of the hotel. Spa treatment, clothes, a private table at a steakhouse. All for Noah. All on my dime. I didn't rage. I didn't freeze. I clicked Report Fraud, entered the transaction numbers, and flagged her card for unauthorized use. I attached the reservation confirmation showing that she wasn't the primary guest. I submitted a formal complaint through the bank's internal messaging system. An hour later, the account was frozen pending investigation. She called again, 6 times. When I finally answered, I didn't speak. She started sobbing instantly. I didn't plan it. I swear. It just happened. I panicked when you showed up. I know I was wrong. But please, please don't destroy everything we had. I stayed silent. Then I heard her mother's voice faintly in the background. Give it time, Mia. Don't beg. Just explain. The call cut. That night, Charlotte texted again. A video. Noah, drunk, outside their apartment, screaming up at the window. She filmed it all. Then cut to him sitting on the curb in the rain, soaking wet, holding the gym bag she had thrown earlier. He's sleeping at his brother's. I told his mother everything. Thank you. I texted back. Don't thank me, she wrote. We're not the ones who should be sorry. I woke up the next morning to silence. No buzzing. No notifications. Nothing new on my phone. It was almost eerie, like the world had paused for a second, waiting for me to make the next move. The calm never lasts. By mid-morning, I got an email from the hotel. The manager had seen the viral post Charlotte made and flagged the incident internally. He offered a refund for the room charges, but I declined. I didn't want the money. I wanted the record. Let it sit there, attached to her card. I only asked one thing, that the remaining balance be billed to the secondary guest. The manager agreed and transferred the incidentals, spa service, room service, minibar, dry cleaning, all to Mia's card. She had used it without thinking. Signed her name. Left a paper trail through an account she didn't even check. Now she would. I printed a final receipt from the hotel portal. It listed every expense. It totaled $2,180.54. She had spent it like the room was hers. Like the trust was hers to spend too. I added that printout to the folder I'd already collected, then drove back to her parents' house. They lived in a suburb outside town. Big porch, trimmed hedges, wind chimes by the mailbox. Her mother opened the door when she saw me pulling up. She didn't say anything, just stepped aside to let me in. Mia was sitting on the couch, knees pulled to her chest, eyes blank. No makeup, no pretense. She looked small, like someone who'd been caught mid-performance and didn't know how to exit the stage. I didn't speak. I walked to the coffee table, set the folder down, and slid it across to her. She didn't touch it. Her father stood in the hallway, arms crossed. He didn't intervene. He didn't ask questions, just stared at his daughter like she was a stranger. I opened the folder myself, one page at a time. The hotel receipt, the photo of her on the floor, the time-stamped email from the reservation, the bank statement showing her withdrawals, the message from Charlotte, each one louder than anything she could have said. She tried to reach for my hand once. I pulled it back. Her mother asked quietly, "What do you want us to do?" I looked at Mia. "I want her to pay the bill." "She will," her father said. "Every cent." I nodded, turned, and walked toward the door. Mia's voice cracked behind me. "Is that it?" I stopped. "That's it." She stood up, shaky. "You're just going to erase everything? Just like that?" I turned back, looked her dead in the eye. "You did that." "Not me." Outside, the wind felt cleaner, lighter. I didn't go home. I drove to Charlotte's place. She had texted earlier, saying she wanted to return something. When I arrived, she was waiting at the curb with a small cardboard box. Inside it were a few things: a framed photo of the 4 of us from a ski trip, a gift card we had given them for their anniversary, and the save-the-date magnet from my wedding. She handed it over. "I don't want reminders," she said. I nodded. "Neither do I." Then she handed me something else, a folded piece of paper. I called his office. Sent them a copy of what happened. He's been suspended pending investigation. Apparently, the company has a zero-tolerance clause for personal conduct scandals. I unfolded the paper. It was a printout of the company policy with highlighted sections. "He'll be unemployed by Monday," she said. "They already revoked his login access." There was nothing gleeful in her tone. No bitterness. Just resolve. I didn't ask why she went that far. She didn't ask why I hadn't done more. Some things don't need to be explained. Before I left, she looked at me one last time. "You know, you never raised your voice." "Not once." I shrugged. I didn't need to. Later that evening, I walked back into my apartment, alone, clean, and clear. The last of her things had been moved out earlier. A friend picked them up while she hid at her parents' house. She left behind the ring box. Not on purpose. It had been stuffed behind a drawer, out of sight, maybe forgotten. I opened it. The ring still gleamed under the kitchen lights. I walked to the balcony, opened the door, and flung it as far as I could into the night. Not because it was symbolic, because it was garbage. By the next day, the hotel bill hit her credit card. A friend who still followed her socials sent me a screenshot, a cryptic post on her story. "Be careful who you trust. People aren't always who they seem." No names, no tags, just cowardice, pixelated. But the comments were brutal. People knew. No one was on her side anymore. She tried to twist the narrative, but receipts speak louder than pity. Later that week, I got one final email. It was from the jeweler I had originally contacted for the wedding bands. They asked if I wanted to complete the purchase. I replied, no, cancel everything. She already had her ring and threw it away in a hotel room. No ceremony, no vows, no more pretending, just facts, paper trails, and silence. And that's all I needed. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.